It feels like we just caught our breath, doesn't it? I mean, we spent all of 2025 trying to wrap our heads around the DeepSeek shock, watching the markets tumble and the tech giants scramble. And now, here we are in February 2026, and the landscape is shifting under our feet again. But this time, it feels different. It's not just about who has the smartest chatbot anymore. It's about who has the best. Employee?
That is exactly the right word. If 2025 was the year of generative AI, creating text, images, code, then 2026 is shaping up to be the year of agentic AI. And Alibaba just fired a massive opening salvo with Qwen 3.5.
Right, Qwen 3.5. I saw the headlines on Monday. They're calling it a model for the agentic era. But before we dive into the benchmarks and the tech wars, let's unpack that term. Agentic. It sounds a bit sci-fi, doesn't it? Like we're handing over the keys.
In a way, we are. Think of the old paradigm, even the advanced models from last year, as a really, really smart librarian. You ask a question, it runs into the stacks, reads a million books, and comes back with a summary. It's passive. It waits for you.
Okay.
Agentic AI, specifically what Alibaba is pushing with Qwen 3.5, is more like an executive assistant. You don't ask it to tell you how to book a flight. You tell it, get me to London by Tuesday morning. And it goes out, opens the apps, clicks the buttons, enters your credit card info, and sends you the boarding pass. It has agency. It takes action.
And that's the visual agentic capability they mentioned in the release?
Precisely. This is the killer feature. Qwen 3.5 isn't just processing code in the background. It can reportedly navigate mobile and desktop interfaces just like a human would. It sees the screen. It knows where the Buy Now button is. That is a fundamental shift in how we interact with software. It's no longer text in, text out. It's intent in, action out.
That's incredibly convenient, but also, slightly terrifying. I mean, giving an AI the ability to click buttons on my behalf opens up a whole Pandora's box of trust issues. But let's look at the specs. Alibaba is making some very bold claims here. They aren't just saying it works, they're saying it beats the heavyweights.
The benchmark comparisons are aggressive. They're claiming Qwen 3.5 outperforms GPT 5.2, Claude Opus 4.5, and Gemini 3 Pro. Those are the absolute gold standards coming out of the US right now. If those benchmarks hold up in independent testing, Alibaba isn't just catching up. They're potentially leading the pack in specific verticals.
And doing it cheaper.
Much cheaper. They cited a 60% reduction in cost compared to their predecessor. In the world of enterprise AI, where companies are burning millions on compute, a 60% discount is the difference between a cool experiment and a viable product. They also mentioned it's 8 times better at processing large workloads. So, faster, cheaper, and more autonomous.
It sounds like the classic better, faster, cheaper triangle, which usually you can only pick 2 of. But this brings us to the battlefield. This isn't happening in a vacuum. The Chinese market right now is, well, cutthroat seems like an understatement.
It's a total brawl. You have Alibaba, you have ByteDance, and you have the ghost of DeepSeek hovering over everything. Just look at the timing. ByteDance released Doubao 2.0 on Saturday, literally 2 days before Alibaba's announcement.
And Doubao is massive, right?
Huge. They're approaching 200 million users. They have the distribution advantage because of their ecosystem. But Alibaba is trying to claw that back with some very clever, very aggressive tactics. Did you see the coupon campaign?
I did. That actually made me laugh. They were giving away food and drink coupons, but only if you purchase them through the Qwen chatbot.
It sounds like a gimmick, but think about the psychology. They are training users to trust the AI with a transaction. It's not, hey, chat with me. It's, hey, let me buy you a coffee. That led to a 7-fold increase in active users. Sure, there were some technical glitches, which is to be expected, but it proves that people are willing to use an agent if the incentive is right.
I'll let the robot drive if it buys me lunch.
Exactly. And that's the gateway to the agentic era. Once you trust it to buy a coffee, maybe next week you trust it to buy your groceries. Then your plane tickets. Then manage your stock portfolio. Alibaba is betting that commerce, not just conversation, is the killer app for AI.
But we have to talk about the elephant in the room. Or perhaps the dragon in the room. DeepSeek.
The disruptor?
Right. A year ago, they triggered a global tech sell-off just by proving how efficient they could be. Hmm. Alibaba's announcement for Qwen 3.5 conspicuously didn't mention DeepSeek by name, even though they listed all the American rivals.
That silence speaks volumes. You mention the competitors you want to be compared to, the expensive US models. You don't mention the domestic rival that scares you. DeepSeek is expected to drop their new generation model any day now. The industry is holding its breath.
It feels like a Mexican standoff. You have ByteDance with the user base, Alibaba with the commercial infrastructure, and this new visual agent tech, and DeepSeek with the raw efficiency and research prowess.
And the investors know it. Remember, the market is still sensitive. They remember the volatility from last year. If DeepSeek comes out next week with a model that is half the size of Qwen 3.5 but performs just as well, we could see another price war. And a price war in agentic AI is dangerous because it encourages a race to the bottom on safety rails.
That's a chilling thought. If the goal is to be the cheapest agent that can do things on your computer, are companies going to cut corners on the verification steps?
It's the capability per unit of inference cost metric Alibaba keeps touting. It's a very CFO-friendly metric. But as a user, my metric is safety per unit of action. If Qwen 3.5 is navigating my desktop, I need to know it's not going to accidentally email my tax returns to my entire contact list because it hallucinated a command.
Or because it was optimizing for speed?
Right. The visual agentic capability is fascinating because it bypasses APIs. It doesn't need the software to be built for AI. The AI just looks at the software like we do. That makes it universally compatible instantly. But it also means the AI has to interpret a messy visual world. That's a much harder problem than just predicting the next word in a sentence.
So, looking at this release, Qwen 3.5, is this the moment Alibaba reclaims the throne? They were arguably on the back foot for a while.
It's certainly a strong bid for the throne. They are leveraging what they are best at, business utility. They aren't trying to make the most poetic poet or the funniest joker. They are building a digital worker. By focusing on agentic tasks and driving down the cost of those tasks, they are positioning Qwen as the engine of the economy, not just a toy for consumers.
But ByteDance isn't going to just roll over. Doubao too is also positioning itself for the agent era.
True, but ByteDance's DNA is entertainment and content consumption. Alibaba's DNA is transaction. In an agentic world, where the value comes from doing things, booking, buying, organizing, Alibaba might have the home field advantage. However, never bet against the company that controls the attention of 200 million people.
And certainly don't bet against the wildcard DeepSeek until we see their hand.
Exactly. We are looking at a snapshot in time. Monday, it was Alibaba. Saturday, it was ByteDance. Next week, who knows? But the trend line is undeniable. We are moving away from chatbots. The era of the AI assistant that actually assists is here.
It makes you wonder about the workforce implications. If Qwen 3.5 is 8x better at processing large workloads and can operate apps independently, that's a lot of entry-level office work being automated.
That's the deeper subtext of the cost efficiency pitch. When they say do more with the same compute, they are also implicitly saying do more with fewer humans. It's great for the bottom line, but socially, we're going to have to grapple with what it means when the intern is software that costs pennies an hour and never sleeps.
And unlike a human intern, it has access to the entire internet and can see your screen 24/7.
It brings up a philosophical question about agency. If I have an agent that buys my food, sorts my mail, and manages my calendar, at what point do I stop making decisions? Do I become the passenger in my own life?
We're trading autonomy for convenience. It's the oldest trade in the digital age, just at a much higher stake.
And with Qwen 3.5, the price of that trade just got 60% cheaper.
That's a sobering way to put it. We're watching the infrastructure of the future being built in real time, brick by brick, model by model. Alibaba has laid down a massive brick this week.
And the wall is getting higher. We'll just have to see if DeepSeek decides to knock it down next week.
We'll be watching. As always, the technology moves faster than we can analyze it, but we'll keep trying.
It's the only choice we have.
Thanks for breaking this down with me. It feels like 2026 is going to be a long year.
It's only February. Pace yourself.
Indeed. And for everyone listening, keep your eyes on your screens. Or maybe let your agent do it for you. We'll catch you next time.